Hello, my name is Holly Perry, and today I'll be sharing with you my project on relationships and interpersonal communication for Liberty University HSC 508. I will be reading to you from a PowerPoint. When I move on to the next slide, you will hear me say next. Next. As you can see, today I'm working with you from my office at EA Family Services. I would like to share with you the overview of my project. Overview. Definition of interpersonal communication to me. Who I am, my overreaching goal, my behavioral blend, my communication barriers, resources and strategies, the action plan, and conclusion. Next. Interpersonal communication is the communication between yourself and others, coming from a manner in which you learn to respect, listen, not only to the verbal but also the nonverbal cues. It is an important skill to learn and practice in our everyday lives and relationships. When parties in a relationship, no matter how significant or how small, practice this communication skill effectively talking and listening, communication is maximized and a trusting bond can be found. Next. Who am I? My name is Holly. I am a mother. I am a loving partner. I am a great friend. I am a student, and I am a social worker. I am a social worker working to achieve my master in counseling so that I continue to connect to families and help them feel understood and in hopes teach them the communication skills that I had lacked in my previous marriage. My overreaching goal is to excel at all aspects of who I am and become an effective communicator and family therapist. The sub-goals is to fine-tune my communication skills, finish my master's in marriage and family therapy, and move into a counseling position with my current employer, EA Family Services. Next. More on overreaching goals. Why is interpersonal communication an important part of my goals? Because proper communication will help excel my relationships, my work ethic, and my understanding of others. I will learn how to practice mindful listening. I will ensure that if I am too emotionally charged, being flat-brained, I will calm down and return to the conversation when I speak and listen, when I can effectively speak and listen to others, both on a personal and professional level. Expressing proper interpersonal communication will help me excel and across all of my relationships. It will help me be mindful of others and where they're coming from, regardless of their personal background. Practicing this will help my communication skills grow and leave those around me feeling valued, understood, and accepted. Next. My personal behavioral blend and background in public is an SC and CS, confident, submissive, and stable. This means that people often find me stable, competent, passive, and analytical. I find this to be true because of where I work in public. Where I work with foster youth children, I am often given difficult families because my coworkers and my supervisors find that I have a calm demeanor, I'm acceptant, open-minded, and I deal best with those difficult families. It can also be found that I struggle with conversations because I tend to overanalyze and quickly jump to how I can fix a situation. I also tend to be passive and loyal to a fault, to the point where sometimes it hurts my personal interest and personal outlook. Yet I find that my loyalty runs deep enough that if a client of mine or my company's interest are put down, disregarded, or shamed, I I defend them deeply with honor and respect. Next, my personal behavioral blend in private is very close. I am an S as my public. I'm an SCI. My I is higher, is close to being in my public. But what this means generally is I'm a people person, I'm task detailed, I can be quiet and meek leader, I'm a mediator, and I'm an influencer. In my private life, I tend to be a little more free-spirited, and I can also at times be more passive. I'm often told that I speak louder and clearer at work than I do with friends and family. I can be both the life of the party and an innocent bystander. I am shy until you get to know me. And once I'm amongst my groups, I can thrive, I can communicate, I influence, and bring positivity to our communications. In personal relationships, I tend to be more passive, and I let my partner and my friends take the lead in actions that we are doing, whatever I can influence quietly, but I honor the respect and lead of those who I am with. I always felt that this was because I was a wife, a mother, and because of the demands at work. However, after learning about myself, I could see this to be true to my nature, and I have begun to see the personal behavior patterns. I don't like those around me to feel discomfort, sad, threatened, or think that somebody thinks less of them. I often build people up, and I am often the mediator amongst friends and family members who are not getting along. I see the good in all in others, even when somebody has crossed my personal boundaries. I'm often giving everybody a second chance or the benefit of the doubt. I see the error in this as I feel that my personality trait has played a part in my divorce, and I also at times let people take advantage of me, and yet I still forgive. Next, communication barriers. Communication barriers that I have. Expressing my own feelings, worried about identity quakes, nexting and mindful listening, expressing warmth, and resistance. Many of us feel that we are great communicators, just as I have about myself. I have often been told that I am a great listener, and I've been praised for my listening and reflecting skills. I felt that communication was one of my top skills, and I only needed a bit of refining here and there. After taking this course, I realized how much my interpersonal communication was lacking. My communication skills where they were lacking became evident after reading Why Don't We Listen Better? I realized how easily I let my feelings get in the way, how I covered up expressing my own feelings, as well as lacking warmth and empathy when responding to others. I tend to try to stay monotoned. I have learned that I have not been mindfully listening because I often feel that I can multitask and perform nexting when I'm talking with someone. I'm often thinking of what I have to do next, my appointments, how I can fix the situation that somebody is going through while they're still talking, and sometimes I don't hear all of what they are saying. Although I'm a very compassionate person, I found that one of the biggest things I am lacking is expressing warmth and compassion. Warmth is at the top of my factor. I want people to feel understood and loved. I am open-minded and loving. However, when I'm communicating, I find that I tend to stay guarded and monotoned as to not express feelings or have myself involved in that. I realize now that this could be a sign of being cold. However, I do like to remain fair, controlled, and balanced, as can be seen in my behavioral blend. I now realize, though, that to effectively communicate, my speaker needs to feel that I am expressing and trying to come from a standpoint of where they are and empathize with them. Communication barriers. Can I overcome them? Yes, yes, yes. I can proudly admit that I have already begun to integrate these teachings into my everyday conversations as well as my professional ones. My biggest professional goals with communication lessons were that I have done my best to stop nexting, I ask more open-ended questions, and I reflect with warmth and compassion. I have been able to combat most of these with the lesson of the speaker-listener card. I envision that my client is holding a card, and I intently listen to authentically hear what they are saying. I then do my best to reflect with proper emotion and referencing what they said. What I have found is that my clients are tending to open up to me more and often coming up with their own solutions to fix what they feel is their problem. This type of interpersonal communication has allowed my clients to assess and avow better outlooks onto themselves, improving their self-esteem. Next, some of the resources that I will be taking with me. Some from the class will be from Peterson and Stewart. Why don't we listen better? And helping skills for human service workers. I will take these materials and carry the lessons into my future conversations on a professional and personal level. And when I feel that I am stuck, I will reread them and reference them and move forward. I will also carry with me the teachings of Jesus and Buddha, as this is my personal behavioral, my personal religious and spiritual faith guidance. Jesus says, if one gives an answer before he hears, it is folly and shame. Proverbs 18:13. And from the spiritual guidance of Buddha, it is said that without communication, there is no relationship. Without respect, there is no love. Without trust, there is no reason to continue. Learning and understanding the nature of interpersonal communication has not only strengthened my communication with others, it has strengthened who I am and solidified and built my self-esteem. I have learned to ground my identity, and if I do not like how somebody avails my personal character, I will use my skills to change it. Next, additional resources. An additional resource that I found was a journal article, The Understudy Nature of Listening in Interpersonal Communication, an introduction to a special issue. In this article, Graham solidifies the importance of listening in any form of communication. He taught that it is especially important in interpersonal communication and feels that others and teachers should have pushed forward and taught more of the importance on actually listening. Graham states that interpersonal communication and listening is intimately related to our core concern as an interpersonal communicator. How communication creates and helps maintain, transform, and dissolve relationships. Throughout this article, in addition, he goes on to discuss the importance of teaching listening skills and ensuring that it is done with proper tools. He wants to ensure that we use them in our daily professional communications. Next, conclusion. Effective and interpersonal communication are the keys to successful relationships across all aspects of our lives. The number one thing that we can do to improve this skill is learn to listen, both to the verbal and nonverbal. When we learn to listen to the verbal and nonverbal, we begin to truly understand our speaker. When we truly understand, we can respond with empathy and engage in greater conversations. Interpersonal communication will strengthen the bond between the speaker and the listener. I would like to end this with two quotes. First from our Father, and then from my spiritual guide, Buddha. James 1:19. Know this, my beloved. Brothers, let every person be quick to hear, and slow to respond, and slow to anger. From Buddha. If you want to know someone's mind, listen to their words. If you want to know their heart, watch their actions. Buddha. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. And everybody learn to listen.